Hello everyone, it's Clara and I'm back with a quick review, and this is a game which has become my filler game of the last 12 months. To be honest, it's the game that I've played more than any other game, and it's a game that I overlooked originally, and the game is called Welcome to Your Perfect Home. So this is a flip and write game. What does that mean? Well, I'll explain a little bit about it once we get back, but all you need to know is that this is a quick filler game, but it's nice and simple, so you can sort of introduce it to friends, but at the same time it's got enough to keep a gamer like me going. So let's just get back to it, shall we? So what is it that we're doing with Welcome to Your Perfect Home? Well, it's one of these games that you can play with lots and lots of different people, but each person is playing their own individual game, if I'm perfectly honest. Each player has their own disposable writing board. So you write everything on the sheets, and there's lots of sheets, so you're not going to run out anytime soon. And you also have a deck of cards, and so you split them into 3 piles. And so each round, you flip the card so that there are 3 house numbers revealed, and next to those 3 house numbers are actions which are on the back of the house numbers that you flipped over. And so it might be that you get these different types of improvements. Maybe you get to add a fence, maybe you get to build a pool in your community. So you choose the cards as a pair. You choose the number, the house number, and you choose the improvement that you want to make. And then you need to put the house number onto this board, onto your own individual board. And so they don't need to be consecutive, but they do need to increase in numbers, and you can't have the same number next to each other twice. So basically you've got to ascend from low to high. So if you skip numbers, then will you be able to fill out, the rest of the row? You're not sure. So sometimes you're going to take a house number because it's more convenient for your plans, but sometimes it might be that you take a house number because you really want the action that's associated with it. And so when you make these improvements, you mark them off on the bottom of the scoring sheet. So there's different things. If you build a park, then you score them here. If you build a pool, you add them here. You can increase the value of certain communities. I mentioned before that you can add fences, and so what you do with these fences, these are where you draw a thick line in between. And so here I've separated out a single unit, and then there's a row of 5, or is it 6, and then there's another fence, and then there's a section of 4. Why would you even want to do that? Well, partly because the different numbers play into this, so the different sizes score you different points, but also there are scoring cards, and the first person to score those cards gets additional points, as does the second player, but less points. And so it might be that one of the goals of one of those scoring cards is to have a 1, a 3, and a 5 set of houses, and so once you've got all them, you can use them and cash them in and get the points. Or maybe the aim is that you've got to have a row of houses where you've done all the pools and all the parks. It's such a simple game. It's so easy. It's got a low complexity, I'd say, and so it's fairly easy to teach. Doing it well, that's where the challenge is. And so I think that's, as a gamer, someone that likes quite complex games, I'm still happy with this because it still feels like a really interesting puzzle. And I also feel that I could get my niece and my mum to play it with me because they also love puzzles, and yet I can teach them the rules in 5 minutes. It's not too difficult. And so like I say, I'd overlooked it quite a lot, and I was thinking, I'd seen it, but I just wasn't interested. But then it's on Board Game Arena, and one of my friends really loves it, and so I was like, okay, let's try it. And I got hooked. Like I say, I've played it more than any other game in the last 12 months, and as you can probably tell, I bought it. What's lush about it is there's also these little expansion packs as well, so they add like 1 or 2 extra rules, extra things that you're doing. So there's a Winter Wonderland map where you're stringing out Christmas lights outside the house, and there's a Summer Spectacular one where you're trying to get ice cream. It's so cool. I love the idea, and I haven't bought any of these little expansion ones yet because I've just not had the spare money, but I will do. There's a couple that I've got my eyes on, including the Winter Wonderland one, which just seems lovely. But I also kind of want the Doomsday one as well. That looks pretty cool. So that just adds a little bit, and it'll give me a little bit of extra variation as I go along. So I'm really fancying that. Now, what I will say is that Welcome to, it's a fairly cheap game, and I bought it, like I say, I tried it on Board Game Arena, but then also the sequel is on Board Game Arena as well, and that's called Welcome to Las Vegas. Now, I haven't bought that, and I've only started playing it, but whereas this might be a very simple 20-minute game, the Welcome to Las Vegas is a little bit more complex, and so it recommends more like 40-45 minutes, and the way you score points is a lot more complicated. If I'm perfectly honest, me and my friend tried playing it without reading the rules, and it turned out that there's sufficient differences that we both should have really read the rules beforehand. But it's good because it ups the level. So you're introduced with this, and this is simple and I can teach it to people, but it still is a game that I love as a gamer. But then if I want a bigger challenge, then I can also open up Welcome to Las Vegas. And I'm talking about it now because this is a few years old. This is 3 years old, and Welcome to Las Vegas came out last year, but I think end of this year or next year Welcome to the Moon is coming out, and so I'm curious to see what they do because they feel like the same game but different. And I love that when you get these sort of sequels and expansions where, so you've got the expansions where it adds little things, and then you've got the sequel which sort of takes it up a notch, but it's still the same game, just with different rules. So I'm really curious to see what Welcome to the Moon is like. But yeah, so this is my filler game of the moment. It's a flip and write. It's called Welcome to. I can't wait to try Welcome to the Moon. And until next time, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and bye bye.